So you're having trouble with 5x5. Happens to the best of us. Let's do a little walkthrough solve. So 4x4 and 5x5 are basically the same thing, but you can think of it as 4x4 being an extension of a 2x2 and 5x5 being an extension of a 3x3. What I would recommend doing after you learn how to solve a 4x4 is to start practicing solving just one side of a 3x3. So let's just hopefully you know how to do this, but in case you don't, if you know how to solve a 3x3 but not a side, you can basically do it like this. So let's choose a blue, cross, you know how to put in corners, but just don't pay attention to where they're being placed, or you can, but it's not necessary. Apparently I just got really lucky and then solved the whole layer, but you don't have to do that. You could do it like this, where you make a cross, or that's not a cross. You make a cross and then you put in corners, and it's solved. Except it's not really solved, just a face is solved. But if you know how to do that, you should know how to solve a 5x5 if you know how to solve a 4x4. So we're going to basically use the exact same method. So we have the white center right there. So we're going to make a white cross. That was pretty easy. Now we're going to put corners in this white cross. And this is a little easier than solving a face on a 3x3 because you can move it like this, and you don't have to move it like this. So it can be more confusing, but it's actually easier. I know that sounds weird, but it's the same thing as solving a face on a 3x3. Now the yellow side's different. You're gonna want to solve a bar, and then you want to make another bar in these middle three layers right here. So that we can do that like that. So then we have two bars, and now we have a half bar right here, and we need to find the other one. So we just gotta do that. And then the way to insert this bar right here is to make sure that the side bar right here is in the same layer as the side bar right here. So when you push up, do your U2 and then pull it back down. You have a yellow center solved and a white center solved. Now it's on to the red center. It's again the same thing as a 3x3, except there's one more thing that we need to learn how to do. So you have a red cross. So now you need to fill corners in. So I have a corner, I'm gonna put a corner right here that needs to go right there. What I'm gonna do is the following. And now I have a corner in here. And this corner is still right here, so what I have to do is I have to do it like this. This corner has to go right there. And now I have this corner that just happens to be in the right spot. Normally it could be over here in one of these four corners, or right here in one of these four corners, but we got really lucky and it's right where it needs to be. So we're just gonna move this piece right here, and it's gonna be right there. So next up, we want to make a blue cross. So I have two blue edge pieces, so I'll just insert them like this. And then I do notice that there's one right here. So what I have to do is I have to be very careful with this one. I have to move it to the side, and then I need to bring this red piece with me. So I need to make sure that this red piece is right here, and then I can pull it back. And then it's going to basically be the same thing, except there's an extra move that you need to do. It's going to be this. The extra move is you bring this red piece back up, so that when you pull it back down, the red center piece is untouched. So next, we need to find this piece. So in order to do that, pull this up and make sure that the blue corner is on this piece or this piece. But sometimes it can also be on the one in front, but in that case it's pretty easy. You just have to move it around. So we have this blue piece right here, and it needs to be right here, so we need to move it this way, and then we're gonna do a double turn to put it in the right spot, and then we're just gonna simply pull this back, except we're actually gonna do that again, so that last move wasn't necessarily needed, but it's good to do that move when you're learning. Same algorithm. Make sure that you have this red bar go up so that the red center remains untouched when you complete the blue center. Now it's basically the same thing. Make the orange cross, and we got pretty lucky here, but I'm sure you guys would know how to do it anyway. So next part is the edges. You can't really just start inserting edges wherever you want. There's a specific rule now. So I'm gonna put this right here, and it's in the same layer as this one because these two are switched. This piece needs to go right like this. So we're gonna do that, and then back to what we did on the 4x4 to insert the edges. You just have to be considerate of where the center edge is going to be when you're making edge pieces. So I'm going to come back when I have the white cross, and then we'll continue this tutorial. Okay, so now what we have is the same thing as a cross, except it's not really a cross. If you remember this stage on 4x4, it's basically that. So I see that there's a red and blue piece, so that's gonna go right here. So we're just gonna put it right there. And if you know CFOP, you'll know how to do this. I recommend you learn CFOP before you move on to a 5x5, but that's just my personal preference. So next we need to put this piece right here. So we're gonna do it like this. Okay, and now this whole F4L, first 4 layers, is in the correct spot. So right here, you could say that we have a 4x4x4 completed inside the 5x5, but there's still a lot of other stuff that we need to do. So I see that these two are in the right spot relative to each other, but there's a missing centerpiece right here. So let's insert this normally, but now we have to find the green and orange piece that goes right here, and it is located right here. So what we need to do is we're gonna set it up as if we were about to insert a 3rd layer edge piece on a 4x4, except we're gonna do something different. Did you see what I just did? Instead of doing this, I just put the edge piece up, and now it's all in the right spot, so I can move this down, move this back this way, and then I can move the center layer back down. So next I see that orange, blue, white connects to blue and orange, so all I have to do is put that in. Usually this doesn't happen. I'll show you what it's most likely going to be like with the last edge. So we do this again with the middle layer. So most of the time you're gonna get a situation like this, where you have the corner right here, but you have to put this in now. So you have an F2L, first 2 layers solved, but then you have this. If you remember how to do it from a 4x4, it's the same thing. That's the exact way that we did it on a 4x4. But there is one more case that I do want to show you guys. Let's say that there was one more piece that we needed to put in here. Well, what are we going to do now? Well, we see that it's red and green. So red and green, I just got that backwards, red and green. So you're going to put it on the green side, and you're going to do the exact same thing that we did on a 4x4 and a 3x3. You're just going to use the last layer. So now you should know how to do the first, you should know how to do the first 3 layers of a 4x4, but if you're watching this video, you probably know how to solve all of the 4x4. So now you know how to solve the first 4 layers of a 5x5, the first 5 layers of a 6x6, the first 6 layers of a 7x7, the first 7 layers of an 8x8, the first 8 layers of a 9x9, and the first 9 layers of a 10x10, and you get the idea. But how do you do the last layer? Well, this is actually the hardest part. You have to solve edges, but like the edges are going to be messing with you, because if you see right here, we have an edge and an edge. So normally on a 4x4, if we saw this, we would want to do a double move and then insert it like that. But now this middle piece is in the wrong spot. So how are we going to fix this? Well, there's a simple algorithm. Now wait, did you notice anything about that algorithm I just did? It is almost like it is the exact same thing that you do on a 4x4, except now it's on a 5x5. Look at that. It's the exact same thing that we did on a 4x4. So you don't necessarily need to learn any new algorithms to know how to do a 5x5. So we're going to continue on with this part now. So what we want to do is we want to build like this right here, a 1x1x2 area. So we have a 1x1x2 area right here, but we don't have that over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create one. So yellow, red right there, and then do what we normally do right there. And like that, we have a 1x1x2, a 1x1x2, a 1x1x2, and this side right here needs to be a 1x1x3 area. So now you just kind of insert this edge the way that you normally would, and that's in the wrong spot. So how do I know that it was in the wrong spot? Because this edge right here is going to be replaced by this edge right here. I'm going to do an algorithm that we learned on the 3x3. That algorithm is to switch edges around, so it did this, it is in the right spot now. So what we can do, double D move, turn this layer 2 times, put it to the side and replace it with this one. Do the following, and now it is ready to be solved like a 3x3. So let's do CFOP with it, that's not the right algorithm. And we're ready to solve the cube like a 3x3 now. Complete.